Hey guys, Sherjan here. Welcome back to my channel. So do you feel lost or like, hey, maybe you've missed some opportunities, things aren't working out, maybe you've worked really hard in the last 5, 10, maybe even 15 or 20 years, and the way you thought life was gonna be is not the case. Maybe you've lost a relationship or something bad has happened or something that you really wanted didn't happen. Now that's normal. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine and actually a student of mine who was going through the same issue. And he was telling me that he feels lost and doesn't know what to do and feels like all the stuff that he's done in the last, let's just say 10 years has been a waste, right? So he feels directionless. So today I wanted to talk about that specific topic. If you're in a situation where you feel like life's not going anywhere, you missed a bunch of opportunities, and you feel lost, you feel like you don't have the guidance or the strength to move forward, then this is a video for you. Hi, my name is Sherjan. Those of you who are new to this channel, I was a vice president of investment banking at Morgan Stanley, and prior to that I was at Google. But on the internet, I am your personal mentor. I actually talked about this topic last week on my Mentor Mondays newsletter. If you haven't subscribed yet, go to this link and subscribe. It's my new newsletter, which comes every week on Mondays, obviously, and it talks about life and career advice. So anyways, coming back to this topic, feeling lost, feeling misguided and not knowing, not having a direction. So the way I think about it is I think about life as a beautiful thing and you on a rocket ship, right? So being on that rocket ship of life. So today, for an example, I'm gonna use this beautiful pen as a rocket ship of life, right? And the beauty of life is that it gives you this rocket ship, and imagine you're pre-takeoff right now. So you're on planet Earth and you have all the resources in the world behind you. Your parents have helped you, your family members have helped you, you've gone to good schools, you've learned a bunch of stuff. And especially the first 18 years of your life, or actually the 22 years of your life when you're up until college and you finish college, you've just been training and fueling up this rocket with all the energy, all the potential momentum that it will have. So what happens then is you finish your 22nd year, 23rd year when you graduate college, and this rocket actually takes off. So let's see this rocket take off actually. Right, so now you're here. You've left planet Earth, right? So you're out of orbit and you're out of the gravitational pull of this planet. And it's given you all the resources. All those past 22, 23 years have given you all the resources. Right now, what happens is, as most people, we start doing things that everybody else is doing. We start looking at opportunities that are the brightest in the sky. And for people leaving planet Earth, sometimes the brightest opportunities are like the moon, right? That's the only thing we can see. So with most students who are coming out of college or young professionals, they see companies like Morgan Stanley, Google's, Goldman Sachs, McKinsey's, all of these cool companies that, the smartest people are supposed to go to. Those are the only shining stars, in the sky, or I guess a moon in the sky. So what happens is you start aiming for it. And you basically use all the resources that you have that you've learned on planet Earth in your initial part of your life to aim for it. So you're aiming for this moon, you can see it, it feels achievable, it feels like you can get to it. So your rocket's aiming for this moon, and I'm gonna use this coin that my best friend gave me, and I'm gonna use it as an example of the moon. So this is a shiny object, and you start aiming for it, and you feel like you're pretty, lined up with it. But the closer you get, you need to get further refined, right? You feel like you're about to get into orbit, but it only takes a degree. If you're 1 degree off, you'll miss the orbit and you'll actually crash into the moon, right? You're not gonna get that opportunity, and it's gonna have a big impact on your career, and that's what you feel because this is the early innings of your life. But then if you also kind of are 1 degree off the other way, you'll just bounce off. So you won't get in orbit and you'll just bounce away, right? So that's where the first opportunity comes in. For most people, that's the case. They see these like shining lights in the sky and they're like, oh, I really wanted that. That was my dream job. That was my dream career, or that was my dream relationship, right? That I really wanted to date that girl or that guy. Didn't happen, and you skip off. But that's fine, right? You now skip off of that thing or that potential goal, and now you're in deep space, right? There's nothing you can see. It's dark everywhere. There's no sound. There's no guidance. There's no someone talking to you, telling you how to do things. Because remember, all that guidance is already kind of over, right? And you're still on that rocket ship, the rocket ship that you're on, and basically it's lost in space, basically, and it feels like that it's lost in space, and you can't go back, right? You can't just be like, I'm just going to turn this rocket ship around and start going back the other way. Because remember, that's the beauty of life. It's a one-way, street, right? You have this rocket that's just pushing you forward, and pushing you forward. So what happens then is out of nowhere, you suddenly start seeing another light, right? Another opportunity starts showing up. And guess what? It's Mars, right? Now that's the next thing, and you didn't know it was coming, right? It's not like it was planned, hey, if I miss this, if I miss the moon, Mars is waiting for me. No. You can see it, it's far, far away. Now in this journey, right, this long journey, it's probably gonna take you 6 months to maybe even 5 years. You never know, which career you're in and what, how long it'll take you, but you can see it. All you can do right now is aim for it and stay focused on it, right? That's all, because that's the next opportunity. So now you see Mars out in the distance, millions of miles away, and you gotta do two things. So here are the two things I want you to do. The first thing for your rocket ship, I want the rocket ship to be healthy. Now what does that mean? That means that it's performing at optimal capacity. That means all the engines are firing and it's basically doing everything it can as a ship, as a vehicle. Now, as a human, what does that mean being healthy? That means being physically healthy, right? So I want you to spend time staying physically healthy, right? Making sure you're not taking any wrong steps in life, making sure you're keeping your body healthy, making sure you're getting a workout in on a daily basis. As long as you're doing that, you have your health, then you can do all the other things. So then your rocket ship is actually good. So that's the first part of the keeping the physical health of your rocket ship good. The second part of the physical health is you're basically, learning. As you're going through that journey, you're acquiring skills, right? You're becoming better at flying that ship, moving your body, healthy body through this space, through this cold, dark space. So making sure you're doing that is very, very important. So that's the first part, making sure that rocket is healthy and is just pushing and making sure it's going forward, not backwards, right? But the second thing is more important. And the second thing is mental. It's not physical. It's about keeping yourself mentally healthy, right? Mentally healthy means being focused, and that's the guidance system of this rocket. Remember, you missed the moon, you tried to aim for it, your rocket was probably the healthiest back then, but you kind of lost trajectory and you skipped off of the moon's orbit. But this time, your guidance is better. And if you keep your mind healthy, right, keep it focused on the long-term goal, and make sure your rocket's pointing towards that long-term goal, then you will stay on track and now have a second chance of connecting with this next amazing option, which is Mars. So you start approaching Mars. Mars comes closer and closer and closer and closer, and you're like, I can do this. This is possible for me. This is achievable, and this is the next best thing, and you don't see anything else but this massive planet. So you align your rocket, you've taken all the lessons you've learned in the past, and you basically aim for that orbit, and you get in orbit, right? Now this is your big chance. You're like, oh my God, I've made it into orbit. But guess what? You haven't. You basically skim off the surface of that planet's orbit, and you get into some other orbit, right? You're still in some orbit, but you're not in the orbit of Mars. You're in the orbit of Phobos, which is a shitty little moon of Mars. So it wasn't the big option you wanted. Let's just say that was Harvard Business School. Let's say Mars for you is Harvard Business School, or it was like Facebook or some other cool company, or Stripe, let's just say, that's where you wanted to work. But you ended up at the smaller little company over here, or smaller little business school, or just something small. Maybe you're like, family business that your mom and dad run. And now you're in orbit with this. And now it's again disappointing. You look back, you're like, man, I missed the moon, I missed Mars. Now I'm on this shitty little, not even a planet, it's another moon, and it's not as cool as my moon. I'm lost. I don't know what to do, right? But remember, again, through this whole journey, you have a healthier rocket, a great mind that's focused, and the guidance system is amazing now, right? You've learned a lot of lessons along the way. You know how to withstand long journeys. You know how to stay focused, and your rocket is even healthier. It has basically stood the test of time. And guess what? You basically re-energize, refocus, right? You're like, you know what? I can do this. Because the rocket's gonna keep on pushing. So you can continue to stay in orbit, with that little moon, right? That of Phobos, not even a cool moon, not even a bulge bracket moon, right? And you gotta push off. So you push off, and the rocket keeps on going. And now you're in further deeper space, right? And you're probably approaching, let's just say, 30 years old now, right? So it's been 10 years of your career, and you just don't know where this rocket is gonna go. And there's no opportunity sight once again, right? But guess what? By this time, so many lessons have been learned, right? You know exactly how to avoid bad things, you know exactly how to operate this spaceship, you know exactly how to further refine your GPS or your positioning system or guidance system, which is the mind, right? And on all of this, you're staying very, very focused on that ultimate goal, because there is an opportunity out there. I don't know when it's gonna come, I don't know where it's gonna come from, but as soon as I see the next opportunity, I'm gonna realign my rocket and I'm gonna focus towards that opportunity. So you keep on going, and many, many years go by, and guess what? There's another opportunity that shows up, and that's Jupiter. Much larger than before, right? And by this time, you are prepared. right? You are prepared because you're like, you know what? All of the stuff, all of that experience, all the things that I've done slowly, brick by brick, have brought me to this stage. And I'll tell you this, when you get and you see that orbit and you get into that orbit, it's going to be a special day. It's going to be a beautiful day because that orbit is uniquely for you. Until that day, good luck.